out Ballet Shoes, actually, is his favourite poem, because that's the first one I'm going to read, so it's obviously meant to be. I'll give you the Bible later. Okay. This one was actually one of those that just arrives. I sort of woke up with it in my head one morning. And it was also a time when loads of my poems seemed to have shoes in them. I really don't know why. I just found nearly all my poems had shoes in them. Okay, ballet shoes. He watched her dance, entranced by her twirling ballet shoes. He delighted in peeling pink ribbons and fabric, kissing creased skin, knotted muscles, and tangled ligaments. He clipped her toenails and filed rough edges from her feet, rasping the thickness of her heels and her trademark calluses. Dead skin littered his hands, revealing pre-pirouette softness. He continued loving her, stripping the skin, peeling away layer below layer, cutting muscles, dissecting ligaments, dissolving flesh in a bowl of acid. For the finishing touch, he plunged her feet in bleach and waited for whitened purity. Lifting her up, he watched her dance, seduced by the nakedness of clattering bones. Get stripping up. Right. This poem's called Patchwork, and it actually came about, I was chatting to my friend who made the quilt for the cover, and she wanted to make little tiny dolls out of sort of quilting and patchwork, so this poem came from that. Patchwork. She slices old fabric and starts to sew. The needle glides through skin, patterning her shins. Dots of red burst on the surface, white thread rusting as she draws blood through the air and back. Squares of leather patch her knees, edges gnaw to softness, and layers of lace flutter over her thighs. She can't bear to stitch herself closed, instead weaves purple cord in and out of pubic hair, lines up small hexagons for the sag of her stomach, larger to mask a spreading backside. At her waist, she remeasures, cuts blue cotton to size, leaving her backbone exposed. Small strips circle her breasts, then spiral down her arms. Black leather wraps her throat from collarbone to jaw. She rethreads in red, cuts tiny diamonds like tears for her cheeks. Standing in front of the mirror, she admires her new skin. This one's called Girl, and it's kind of about how things change and the people around you don't always notice. Girl. He won't notice if I sit in the shade and trace the shadows of leaves on your face. We sit and sip from glasses so clear our wine seems suspended in mid-air, and I become braver and kiss you for the first time, a whisper telling you my secret. These days, he's so busy, he doesn't see that the girl he knew is now a girl like you, that I've slipped away on the outgoing tide to a new shore where the waves lick my feet instead of crashing me against rocks, and where we'll count the sandpipers peppered on the beach, listen to their cries, until we've walked so far there's no going back. Okay, this was another shoe poem, and it came about. I drive through Chesterfield every day on the way to work, and for quite a few months, over one of the telegraph wires was a pair of trainers dangling. And every day I drove to work, and I was like, oh, I wonder how they got up there. When I read this another reading, somebody said to me, apparently in America it's all to do with gang culture and people dying and territory marking, things like that. I don't think that's the case in Chesterfield, but you never know. Hey, this is eavesdropping. They dared her to tightrope, balancing between the telegraph poles, one red shoe in front of the other, like walking alone along the white lines in the playground. Looking down, she strips her shoes, laces them to the cable to dangle overhead. Beneath her bare feet, she feels the vibration of each exchange, whispering, bickering, shouting between the houses. Naked toes caress the gossiping wires, curling around the words. She reaches out along the lines, holding tight to one conversation before teetering to the next, tangled in other people's lives. She's become an expert in voices and has forgotten how to wear shoes. Just leaves them swinging as a reminder that once she could walk in them. This poem's called Sea Turtle, and it came about, I was chatting to a very pregnant friend of mine who said that the only time she was comfortable is when she was in the swimming pool and she felt that she was actually turning into a turtle. So this is Sea Turtle, and it's written for Rachel. You're full to the brim. Your domed body skims the surface, limbs floating alongside as you drift through blood-warm water. On this August night, I know you long to sink to the bottom, let it cradle you to sleep. Instead, these waves crash through you, leave you gasping. I know that once she's born, you won't be seduced by the tides anymore, won't abandon her to the teeth of waiting predators. Instead, you'll hold your breath, overflowing as she fastens herself to you. This one came about, I think it was at the time when there just seemed to be all these shootings in the news everywhere over here and in America, and there's lots and lots of violent stuff going on, and this one came from that. It's called Key. I twist it in the lock, listen for the click, taste iron, feel blood leak, like when the tarmac turned red under your body. Afterwards he stood, folding and unfolding his fingers around dark metal, pressing its shape into his flesh, neither of us knowing what to do next. I feel his outline pale on my palm. Check the door again. Right, this is my last poem. It's another shoe one. And it came about, I don't know if you've noticed, that sort of all around you when you travel around, there's random shoes. You know, they're on the beach, which you can understand, people losing shoes on the beach, but at the side of motorways, the side of train tracks, I mean, how did I get there? And this one sort of came from that idea. It's called Shoe Leather Wine. I collect odd shoes, pay pennies at jumble sales, gather them from roadsides, the high tide line. Old boots, sandals, trainers, lace-ups, pumps, stilettos, all single. I lay them side by size, baby's knitted booty to workman's boot, see them scuffed and empty. I reread the recipe, reclassified by material, fraying fabric, split plastic, shriveled leather seasoned with sea salt. I dissect the animal skin, discard cloth and metal, broken heels and laces, pour a gallon of water, stir sugar and yeast, drop one shoe after another into the bucket. The fermenting leather retraces itself. Its gaping bubbles carry away the bitterness of uphill paths, roads not taken, lost races, missed goals, unnoticed first steps, and abandoned last dances. I sip the wine, swallowing summer holiday sweetness, hopscotch, skipping, paddling, wading through waist-high wheat. I siphon forgotten footsteps into green glass, saving them for when I need to just sit.
Very much, that's brilliant. Louise, McCudden.